Welcome back to Combo Compendium. Today we're talking about Atlantean Mermail, which is a fan favorite deck. This deck hasn't really changed a lot ever since Eternity Code came out, but Cupid Pitch actually makes the Auroradon build way more viable these days. Again, I'm showing you the basics. There's no crazy jank combos that I'm showing you here. This is just to help get you started if you're new to the deck, or if you're a veteran, maybe you'll get some ideas from this. So starting off, we have the Card Diva combos into the Auroradon line. I have one for if you want to play Coltwing, and one if you don't want to play Coltwing. So I have two variations there. I have two variations of Atlantean Dragoons plus Abyssteus. One of them is a lot safer because it makes Toad to protect from Nibiru. The other one's a very high risk, high reward combo. And the last one I'm showing you is just, if you draw Neptabyss and nothing else, what can you do? So this deck is pretty consistent. You'll find at least one of these starters almost every game. And if not, well, I don't know what to tell you. That's just kind of how the deck is. So sit back, relax, grab some water. You won't brick if you're hydrated. Let's start off with the combo that's most likely to get banned one day, and that's the Auroradon combo off of Deep Sea Diva. So this is just a one card combo, it goes through the whole thing, you don't need any discards or nothing. So, we're going to normal summon the Diva. We're going to use the Diva effect to summon out Neptabyss. Then we're going to use Neptabyss effect. We're going to send for cost a Dragoon. So if they like Valor or Ash this, you still get at least one search off of the Dragoon. But if they have nothing, we're just going to add another Dragoon. And then Dragoon effect, since it was sent to the grave for cost, we get to add the Deep Sea Minstrel to hand. And before we continue, we're going to want to go ahead and use the Minstrel, discarding the Dragoons, to look at our opponent's hand and rip a card out like a Nibiru. So let's just rip the Nibiru out of our opponent's hand. Then we are going to use Dragoon's effect that we discarded off the Minstrel to search for Mooling Glacia. Then we're just going to go ahead and go for the Hawk effect into Deskbot, and Deskbot and Hawk into the Auroradon. If this card ever gets banned one day, my channel will just completely die instantly. Alright, Auroradon is going to summon out our 3 tokens, of course. You've seen this a million times. We're going to bring back the Deskbot. We're going to go straight for the Cupid Pitch. We're going to use Cupid Pitch and we're going to increase its level by 1, so it's a level 5. Then we are going to use the Auroradon, attributing 2 tokens to summon the Coltwing. Coltwing is going to summon back the 2 tokens, and of course the Deskbot. From here we're just going to Cupid Pitch, and the level 3 into a Borreload Savage. Borreload Savage will equip the Alkafibrax for 2 negates, and the Cupid Pitch will add the Creation Resonator. Next, while we still control 1 token, we're going to summon out the Creation Resonator. Then we're going to use the level 3 and level 7 to make a Baron. I don't own a Baron, so please don't judge me. And then we're just going to go ahead and use these 2 to make the Herald of the Arclight. And now, very conveniently, we have 5 Waters Engrave, which was the first monsters we used. Which means we can summon out the Mooling Glacia that we added earlier. Now Mooling Glacia is going to discard 2 random cards from our opponent's hand. But because Herald is on the field, any card sent to the graveyard would be banished instead. So these 2 cards that we rip are going to be banished. So this is what we end on right here. So during the end phase, our opponent is actually going to get the Nibiru or the random card back, which is going to leave them with 4 cards. One of them which is going to be a useless card, and 3 maybe playable cards. And we just so happen to have 3 Omni Negates for their 3 playable cards. Because their 4th card, we're going to know what it is. It's either going to be a Nibiru, some kind of hand trap, or some card that we want them to have that we know is going to be useless. Alright, now I'm going to show you what you can do if you don't like playing Coltwing. I'm going to continue back from this position from the last combo. So we're going to discard the Minstrel and the Dragoons. We're going to rip the card out of our opponent's hand, and then we're going to Dragoons effect adding Lapis Dragon. We're going to summon out the Lapis Dragon due to its effect. When it's added from deck to hand, it can summon itself. And then we're just going to go through pretty much the same stuff as last time, all the way until we get here. Alright, from here we're going to take our Lapis Dragon and our level 3 token to go straight into a Borreload Savage. So this will just go ahead and give us our negate, just in case they have anything else, but we know what their hand looks like by this point. Okay, and then we're going to go for the Cupid Pitch. We're going to increase the level by 1, and we're going to go into the Adamantipator Dragite. Because we have Waters in Grave, he's now a spell trap negate. And the Cupid Pitch, instead of Creation Resonator, we're going to add the Hop Ear Squadron. Because here's what we can do on our opponent's turn. We have the Spell Negate and we have the Omni Negate. So let's say after we use the Dragite effect, we can use Hop Ear Squadron to synchro these two straight into the Satellite Warrior. In Satellite Warrior, we have 2 synchros in Grave, so that's 2 pops. So we have an Omni Negate, a Spell Negate, and then 2 pops, so 4 disruptions off of the 1 Deep Sea Diva without playing Coltwing. Next, we're going to go for the classic combo, the Abyssteus Dragoons combo. Now this combo has evolved a lot over the years, but recently it's just been kind of the same. So you might have seen this before, but let's get right into it. We're going to Abyssteus, we're going to discard the Dragoons. Abyssteus will add the Pike, and Dragoons will add the Prince. We're going to normal summon. We're going to use the effect discarding Prince to add a level 3 Water, which is going to be Gunned. Next, Prince, since it was sent for cost, we're going to summon back the Dragoons. We're going to overlay for a Bahamut Shark. We're going to use Bahamut Shark's effect, detach the Dragoons to summon a Toad. Now this Toad is exactly the 5th summon. So we don't have Minstrel in this combo, but Toad gives us the Nibiru protection that we need. And Dragoons will now trigger, since it was detached for cost by the Bahamut, to get the Lapis Dragon. We're going to summon out the Lapis Dragon. Next, we're going to link these 2 off for a Coral Anemone. Now, Coral Anemone effect, we're going to summon back the Neptabyss, but we're now locked into Waters for the rest of the turn. But that's not a huge deal. We're going to use Neptabyss, we're going to send Dragoons to add Dragoons to our hand, and then Dragoon's effect Engrave to add a Abyss Megalo. Then we're going to go ahead and link these 2 off now for a Hauk. Hauk will summon Fishborg Launcher. And from here, we can go for the Megalo effect, discarding the Dragoons and Abyss Gunned. So 3 effects will trigger here, a Megalo, Dragoon, and Gunned. Megalo will add the Mizuchi, Dragoons will add the Infantry, And Gund will summon a Mermail from grave. So we're going to summon the Teus. From here we can just simply overlay for Abyssteus. We can equip the Gaios with Mizuchi, and then we're going to link these two for the Mermail Abyssteus. So what do we have here? We have Gaios, who during our opponent's turn we can detach a material to negate all monster effects they currently control. So he can kind of be one singular monster negate is what you're going to be doing most of the time. Mizuchi is a mandatory spell negate. So this card will negate cards like Dark Ruler and Droplet as long as there's no card that was activated in between the two. For example, if they Droplet and they don't discard a monster, you can negate with Toad and you'll get to keep the Mizuchi, but if you just let it resolve, then the Mizuchi will automatically negate it. The Lacia, during our opponent's turn, we can discard the infantry, and the infantry, since it was discarded, will be able to destroy a face-up card. And then Toad is just an Omni-negate. Also, during the opponent's turn, we can use the Hauk effect to summon either a Formula or a Desert Locust. Now Formula will let us draw one card, whereas Desert Locust will rip a card out of our opponent's hand, and he also just has bigger stats. So Locust can kind of be like a pseudo disruption if you snipe like a really good card out of their hand. Next is going to be another Abyssteus Dragoons combo that's a much more high risk, high reward. This combo doesn't play around hand traps, it doesn't rip out hand traps. But if you open a Minstrel and you can like rip a card out before you go for these two, and you know your opponent won't have any more interaction, this would be a great one to go for. So we're going to go for Abyssteus Dragoons again. Dragoons this time, we're going to add a Diva. And Teus will add a Gund. Next we're going to normal the Diva. Diva's going to summon a Neptabyss. And we're going to use Neptabyss, send Dragoons, add Dragoons. Dragoons effect will add Megalo. Then we can link these two off straight for the Hauk. Hauk will summon a Fishborg Launcher here. We're going to synchro these two. This has to be a water synchro because of Fishborg Launcher's effect. So we're going to go for Dragite. Then we're going to go Megalo effect, summon by pitching these two. We're going to go Megalo, add Mizuchi, Dragoons will add Lapis, and Gund will summon back the Teus. On resolution, the Lapis Dragon will trigger. We can summon it out for another free body. From here, we're just going to overlay for the Abyssteus again. And we're going to equip the Mizuchi, so now we have a monster and spell negate. And now, since all of our graveyard is water, we can summon back this Fishborg Launcher. Now, Launcher only has the restriction for waters if it's a synchro. But if it's a link, we can go for almost anything here. So there's tons of ways you can go from this position. You can link off the Lapis, Hauk, and Launcher for a 3-material Appaloosa, or you can go for something a little more interesting. If Appaloosa is kind of boring to you, we can go for an IP. And then during our opponent's turn, we can link off the Hauk for Formula. Formula will draw a random card. And then after we use our Dragite, we can synchro these two for the Satellite Warrior using Formula's Synchron's Quick Effect. And then that is 2 synchros. So Satellite will pop 2 cards. And then, if you still need even more disruption, you can just IP and Satellite Warrior into a Nightmare Unicorn, and then just discard the card you just drew to shuffle back a card. So, you know, this combo just has absolutely tons of interaction. It has a built-in Dark Ruler and a Droplet Negator. The only thing that you're really getting killed by is Nibiru. But like I said, this is a high-risk, high-reward combo unless you draw the Minstrel beforehand and you know you can rip out the hand traps. Now, if you draw only Neptabyss, you're not in trouble. You can still do the full Auroradon combo, you just won't get the Mooling Glacia. Right? Because you can just, you can send Dragoons, add Dragoons. You can add Minstrel here if you want, just to, you know, because if you're starting with Neptabyss, your hand is probably pretty bad. So using the Minstrel to just ensure that they don't hand trap you is probably the best idea. And then of course that Dragoons will add the Lapis, and then from there, these two just make Hauk, which is the Baron, the Savage, and the Herald. So you get your 3 Omni Negates, but you just, you don't get the hand looping with the Mooling Glacia.